What's up, guys? Welcome to Books or Nick. I am sick. Happy to have you here for week whatever in April. It is April 14th. I'm a few days late. I kind of forgot, honestly, but here we are. We're making it happen. I have a green juice with me. I made this myself. I have a juicer. I've had a juicer for a few years. Whoa! Yeah, it's really good. I used to juice all the time, and it's the healthiest I had ever felt in my entire life. It was about 2 years ago. I would juice every single day. I would put some kale, cucumber, lemon, ginger, apple, celery, juice it into a thing. I'd have it every day. I had it every day for like 5 months, and I never felt better in my life. But I kind of fell out of it because the thing with juicing is it just takes a long time for what it is, you know, because you got to prep all your veggies and your fruits. And then the juicer has so many elements that you got to clean right after. Because if you don't clean it right after, you're never going to clean it. The stuff's going to start sticking to it, and then you're going to be like, and just throw it in the garbage. So there's a lot of stuff you got to do. It's a bit of a process, but I'm trying to get back into it. I'm trying to fall back into the habit of it because I do really enjoy it when I am doing it. So we'll see how this goes. Anyways, on to books. I've read some books. I'm excited to share them with you, honestly. So here we go. The first one. Forgive me if I mentioned this last week. I don't believe I did, but this is Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green. I read this. This was really, really good. This is about tuberculosis, which, you know what? I didn't really know a whole lot about, to be honest with you, but I'm glad that I read this because now I know a whole bunch and I know how serious it is. John Green is very passionate about the topic of tuberculosis, and he really shines through in this book. He really humanizes this topic in telling stories from real people in his life that he's met. Primarily this boy Henry, and his story is pretty phenomenal. And he really just kind of does a great job at showcasing how massive a problem tuberculosis really is, which, to be honest with you, if it hadn't have been for John Green, I don't really think I would have known that, which is ignorance on my part, but I'm just being honest. I don't think I would have. So really appreciate him writing this. I think this was so well done. A must read, I think, for everybody. I really do think that. It's not a very long read. We're talking 190 pages. This is Henry here. Look at that guy. What a beauty, right? It was just really good. There's a lot of interesting points in here about how World War I was kind of loosely tuberculosis's fault. And how New Mexico, the New Mexico one's really interesting. He makes the case and point that New Mexico might not actually be a state if it hadn't have been for tuberculosis, because I guess they were having a hard time getting the approval to become a state because they didn't have enough people. And so they lured people in that had tuberculosis, kind of saying like, oh, we have the best tuberculosis treatment in New Mexico. And so they lured a bunch of people in that way. And then they were eventually able to become a state because their population grew or something like that. So there's a lot of just unique stuff like that in this book. It's really, really, really good. Very approachable. And just, it'll have you, it's a page turner. It's a lot of interesting stuff in here. So Everything is Tuberculosis, John Green. Really, really good. And it had me thinking about what my favorite John Green books were, because I've read 4 of them now. The only ones I haven't read are the Anthropocene Reviewed, which, dudes, everybody's telling me you have not read Anthropocene Reviewed. That's his best book and my favorite book ever. I was kind of surprised because I made a TikTok, Instagram video earlier this week mentioning my favorite John Green books, and every single comment virtually was that I need to read that book, which surprised me because I didn't realize it was that popular or that well loved. The other ones I haven't read are An Abundance of Catherine's, Paper Towns, and there's another one that's escaping me that people are yelling at their screen right now because I can't remember what it was. But the ones that I have read are Everything is Tuberculosis, The Fault in Our Stars, Looking for Alaska, and Turtles All the Way Down. My favorite is still Looking for Alaska. There's just something about that book that for me hits perfectly, you know, ultimate coming of age story. I love the 2 sides to it. You've got kind of part A. It's kind of split into 2 things. We're following the same group of characters for both parts of this book, part A and part B, but there's something that happens in the middle, and we get to see their kind of transformation, and I really like that. I just thought it was really, really well done. Looking for Alaska is still my favorite, but Everything is Tuberculosis. You can't really compare them. They're completely different books. One's fiction, one's nonfiction. I'm just saying. Looking for Alaska is really good. Okay, moving on. I also read this book. This is Mark Hoppus' new book. This is called Fahrenheit 182, co-written with Dan Ozzi. Dan Ozzi wrote this other book called Sellout that is about emo bands and punk bands that I've really enjoyed. I haven't finished the whole thing. I kind of read it in sections, but it's been really good so far. He co-wrote this with Mark. I read this right away. Took me like a day. I just fell right into it. This, if you So for me, I had a massive Blink-182 era in my life, in my youth. They were my entire personality in grade 11 and 12, and 10 and 9 probably, and grade 8 and 7, I think. They were a big part of my upbringing. I've always loved this band. There's just something about them that feels so correct to me, this trio of people. I was overcome with nostalgia reading this book. What I will say too, for those that are like, oh, like what exactly is this book focusing on? I'm psyched to let you know that the first 70 to 75% of this book is all pre-breakup Blink-182. So you're getting the chunk of the inception of Blink-182 and how they came to be, how Mark met Tom, how Travis entered the band, how Scott left the band. He does touch on that. I don't think Mark, Tom, or Travis touch on Scott's departure too often, but it is talked about in here. So I appreciated that. You get the highlights from the late 90s, early 2000s Pop Disaster Tour, which is the first concert that I ever went to. Interestingly enough, there were some tensions between Billy Joe and Blink-182, and just Green Day in general and Blink-182. I think that they're on very good terms still, and that they kind of still were on the tour, but Green Day... It's kind of alluded in this book that Green Day had felt a little bit weird about opening for Blink-182 when they had felt like they were the bigger band. And I would argue maybe that's true. And so Mark was saying that, they were on a mission, basically. Like, they would only start once it was dark, which affected their start time, Blink's start time, because they would have to, adjust when they were playing, and a lot of venues had closing times where they couldn't play past a certain time, and so their sets were being cut short. And so they went up to Billy Joe and were like, hey, we really do have to have you guys starting on time. And Billy would be like, yeah, no problem. Yeah, I get it. And then they just wouldn't do it. They'd still start late. I love stuff like that. And apparently Green Day, I can attest to it too, because I was at the show. Green Day, they were working out pre-show, pre-every show. They were just so dialed in on that tour. And I remember, it was the first concert I had ever been to, and I remember when Green Day finished, I looked at my friend, and I was just like, that was the best thing I've ever seen in my life. And Blink were great too, because it was my first time seeing them, and I was psyched to see them. But I do remember Green Day were just so locked in. And after the tour, Green Day went on to make American Idiot, which is one of the biggest albums of all time. And so Mark kind of jokingly accredits that tour to help motivate Green Day to making the best album they ever made. He's joking, but, there's some funny stuff in there like that. Some great stories from the Vans Warped Tour. There's a funny story that I really liked about the Take Off Your Pants album, which is one of my favorite albums. I think it's the first album that I bought, actually. And they were changing their sound a little bit for it, kind of going a little more dark, a little more emo. And their producer was like, yeah, it's good. It's missing that, summertime fun song. And so Mark got really, really annoyed by those comments and went home, and he ended up writing The Rock Show. Tom did the same thing, was also annoyed, went home and ended up writing First Date, which those two are probably the two biggest songs on that album. So it's kind of funny how they came to be. There's a funny story about Mark's dad being backstage with Mark as he's about to go on The Tonight Show, and Richard Simmons was on The Tonight Show and recognizes Mark and gives his dad a big kiss. And that is the moment that Mark's dad finally kind of realized, I think my kid might have something here. I think he might actually be famous. There's just a ton of great stories. I really, really liked it. It's very clear that Travis is the coolest member, despite what you might think. He's so loyal, and he's so he's a workaholic. He's always going to be there. He stands up for his bandmates, and he's not afraid to say what's on his mind. And I do appreciate that about him. Funny, just a comment. Mark does touch on plus 44 in this book. However, it starts on chapter 43, which I thought was a bit of a missed opportunity, maybe have plus 44 be chapter 44. That might have been cool. Great book. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars just because I was just smiling from ear to ear the entire read. The back half of this does touch on Mark's cancer diagnosis, which was very kind of heart-wrenching to read about. A lot of rawness going on there. And then it ends with the eventual reuniting of the band and them at Coachella. Just a great book. If you ever had a Blink-182 phase in your life, no matter how big or small, I think you're really going to like that book. I loved it. Okay, moving on. The other book I am currently reading is Shogun. This is by James Clavell. This is the Sick Book Club book for the month of April. It's already April 14th, and I am nowhere near where I need to be. As part of the book club, I go live twice a month. And so our first live is going to be this Wednesday or Thursday for part 1 of this book. I've got about 400 pages I gotta read before that. So I really gotta lock in with Shogun. I'm really liking it. I'm still, I'm only about 180 pages in, but very interesting. Definitely my speed. There's a lot of characters. There's a lot going on. So it is taking me a minute to just kind of get really settled in with the entire world and story, but it is happening. I can feel it happening, and I'm really enjoying it. Can't wait to check out the show once this is all said and done, because I think this will be one of the few times I do check out the show once I finish the book. I don't usually do that because I'm just completely content with having the book live in my brain, but the show is apparently just so good. It wins awards. People love it, so I do think I'll probably give that a go once I'm done this book. The writing's great. What can I say? Shogun's been really, really good. I don't want to touch on it too much because I am still kind of early on in reading that. Something I wanted to note on. I don't know if there's any camera experts in here. Ugh. I want to get one of those. I guess you call it like a content creator camera. But it's called a DJI Osmo Pocket 3. And I think it's the one. I've done a lot of research. I think it's the one. It seems to be the one. I really want to get into doing more vlog style videos because I do actually really enjoy doing them. I as awkward as it can be to walk around with pointing a thing at your face, I think this DJI Osmo Pocket 3 camera thing is going to make it a little less awkward. And I'd love to do more vlogs this year. Even like weekly vlogs if I can. So that's kind of the goal. I'm looking into getting that. Yeah. So if anybody has one and can give me a quick review on it. My main questions are about durability. If I drop that, is it going to break right away? Because it kind of looks like it will. I'd love to know what you think. What else do I have going on? All the merch is shipped out, so if you've ordered a shirt, sweater, mug, whatever, it's on its way to you. Appreciate your patience. It's just me, so it does take a bit of time sometimes packaging everything up. It's a bit of a slow process, but got it all done this weekend, so it's on its way to you. I've got stickers coming. I'm going to sell these as packs, I decided. So I've got my little books are sick guy here. I've got my face. I've got another puking book thing here. Here's my face. I don't know why, but there it is. I've got one other sticker coming that says, hi, I'm sick and books are Nick. Okay, it's just a text sticker. So I'm going to sell them as a 4-pack once I have everything, but I don't have everything yet, so I don't know even really why I mentioned that. Emily Henry has a new book coming out, guys. Did you know about this? It's called A Great Big Beautiful Life or something like that. Comes out next week. I'm looking forward to it. I think Emily Henry is a cool writer, and I was looking into what this book is about. And this book is about 2 writers. Shocking. I think I read Beach Read. Does she actually only write about writers? Because is Book Lovers about writers too? Maybe this is her thing. Kind of like a la Stephen King. He writes about writers a lot. I have no idea. But this new Emily Henry book is about 2 writers. They are both trying to write a biography on this mysterious woman, but this woman will only let one of them in at a time, and she's telling them both different things. I don't know how it's going to go. It sounds really interesting. I'm looking forward to checking that out. What else do I... Oh, book club. So for the month of May, we're doing female authors only, and we're down to our final 3. It's pretty clear which one's going to take it, so I'm confident saying what our book is going to be for the month of May. The top 3 ended up being The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, Babel by R.F. Kuang, and Parable of the Sower by Octavia Butler. Can you take a stab at which one might have won? It's finally a runaway. It's finally a runaway. The last few months, it's come down to 2, and it's been 50%, and it's driving me nuts. Because then I got to figure out what to do. This one is a runaway. Thank goodness. Parable of the Sower, I think, is going to be our book for the month of May. I'm psyched on that because Shogun is 1,500 pages, and Babel and The Goldfinch are both so long. Parable of the Sower is 300-ish pages, and I've wanted to read that book for quite a while, so I'm stoked that one looks like it's going to win. I don't want to jinx it because I'm closing the poll later this week, but it currently is a runaway, so looking forward to that. I'll do my quick thing where I'm if you want to join the Patreon, the link is down below. No pressure. If you do join the Patreon, you get access to our Discord, which is a wildly active online chat space thing. That's a lot of fun. I spend way too much time on there. It's become quite addicting. So yeah, that is there if you want. Also, like and subscribe. I saw the Minecraft movie. Did you guys see that movie? I took my kids to go see that. It was fine. I think the movie's not great. Like, it's not good, but it was a really fun experience. I gotta say, the atmosphere was wild. There was no popcorn throwing. There was no making a mess. Thank goodness, because I think that would have ruined it for me. I would have been like so sad for the employees. However, there were like 30 or 40 different applause breaks. Like something minor would happen in the movie and the whole theater would just erupt into applause. I was loving it. I know that might not be for everybody, but I was like, I feel like I'm a part of something. I don't know what's going on because I never played Minecraft, but this is neat. So the theater experience for me was actually quite positive. I have exciting news, actually. So Joe Hill has a new book coming out. I don't believe it comes out until October. Joe Hill is Stephen King's son, and he has a full-blown fantasy. It seems like it's going to be full-blown fantasy book coming out this October, and I am getting a copy of it early, so I can't wait to get that, and I can't wait to read it and let you guys know what I think. All I really know about it is that it's like 900 pages, and there's a dragon. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. That might be my new most anticipated book of the year so far. I think that's all I really had to mention to you guys today. I really appreciate you guys tuning in every week. Okay, so we'll see you next week. Whatever. Love ya. See you later. Bye.